I was reading in an interview that you've done some while ago about you're not keen on being noticed when you're out and about, and most of your roles have been you're not immediately recognizable. So you're quite heavily disguised in this as a clown. Was that part of the appeal of the film?
What was the appeal? The appeal of the film for me was George got in contact and said there was a role that he, that he had for me. I think he did. God, I hope there were. Anyway, he said that there's a role in this film, and would you be interested? And so it was working with George because I'd worked with George before we'd made a couple of short movies with I'd written a short with Joe Wilkinson called The Butcher that we did with Steve Spears. And then I did a short movie with Seb Cardinal involving another character of mine called Steve Cumberland. And George directed those. So it was working with George because I get so nervous about acting that he had to sort of really persuade me to do it because I just kept umming and ahhing. And yeah, it's very stressful. But because George was at the helm, I thought, he'd make me feel comfortable.
I've worked with Steve Spears many years ago.
Have you?
Yeah, he's great, Stevie, and
Brilliant.
I think he's should be a lot bigger than he is in terms of acknowledgement. But he's great, Steve,
Yeah.
absolutely great.
Yeah.
So that car that you drive in this, that clapped out yellow car that you drive, it's quite something in this film. I think the last time I saw such a decrepit old banger on screen was Warren Beatty at the Oscars. But that's another story. How did you get on with that car?
How do I get on with it?
Yeah, because it looks like it was an ordeal to drive.
I was all right actually. I felt like it was like push the gear stick forward and you drive forward, pull it back, you go backwards. I can't remember now. I think I was all right with it. Yeah, it was really basic. I mean, it was very cramped in there.
Yeah.
We spent a whole day green screening with 5 of us in there with loads of sweaty makeup and but yeah, it was all right, although my face was plastered over the side of it. But yeah, it was all right. I had to do a skid actually at one point. I had to do a little
do your own
skid.
stunts in it.
Yeah, I mean, I was going at about 9 miles an hour, but they told me to drive up to the end of the road and just slightly pull the steering wheel to the right and put the brakes on. I was really nervous.
As long as you didn't end up totaling the car, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I was honestly going about 12 miles an hour and just put the brakes on basically. But yeah, no, I was okay with the car.
I was going to say, if the insurance underwriters are watching this, it was all controlled circumstances.
Yeah.
Now, towards the end of the film, you have this this climactic juggling scene in this. Can you tell me how that was achieved?
Am I allowed to reveal the magic? Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, go on.
We had that's a good question actually. Do you know, I think I had COVID that day. Anyway, I had COVID during this shoot, by the way. I just want to get that out there. But we had this tall metal rig pole, I don't know the terminology. So I would stand at the bottom, and then there were these 2 foot plates there. And Fionn got on there, he stood there, and then Natalie went on top of him. And then we were obviously strapped. Well, I wasn't strapped in, maybe I was. But that's how it was. And then they obviously took it away in the special effects. And then we had to pass the lighted torches, the lit torches up and down to one another, and then just pretend we were juggling. And I didn't know how we were going to pull it off. And then when I saw it, I was like, that's actually really good.
Yeah, it's very effective.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was it basically. I was at the bottom, there were metal plates there. Fionn was on top of me, Natalie on top of him, strapped in. She was really high up. Yeah. Really high. Yeah.
So as a clown in the role, and obviously with this juggling as well, could you juggle, or did you have to go to clown school? And by that I don't mean Houses of Parliament. I mean, proper clown school.
No, I did. Natalie's like she's a proper clown, Natalie.
Right.
That's her background. I mean, when the part came up, I was like, oh, this is very similar to my stand-up character, who's sort of clowny and sort of down on his luck and a bit of a sad sack and a bit of inappropriate and depressive. So I was like, well, so I kind of took it from my stand-up. But no, I can't. I can juggle a few apples for like 3 or 4 seconds. But it was more sort of inspired by my terrible stand-up days, really, and feeling like a failure and a loser on stage in front of like 200 people.
I think all stand-ups seem to have that moment. I mean, what
Well,
was
I've got more of them.
well, what not? Well, I will ask. I'll dredge up the past. What
Yeah.
do you think was your worst moment as a stand-up?
Um, I it was at Reading Festival in 2011 or 12, and I was in the comedy tent, and it was big. My memory was big. I'm pretty sure it held like 1,500, 2,000. And you're at a festival, so you're not there to watch comedy. So you're just sort of milling around. I'll go in this tent and see what's going on here. So I went out on stage and performed my character, who's a purposefully bad comedian. And can I swear on this?
Uh,
I won't swear.
yeah, probably
And
best.
so I'd done about 5 minutes, and from the back of the tent, someone said, F off. And I was like, oh no, because as soon as he did that, it felt like it gave everyone permission to sort of turn on me.
Yeah.
And because of the lower status, the character's lower status, I was like, oh no. So then I had plastic cups thrown at me. I'm pretty sure someone got on stage and tried to pull my trousers down. It was someone walked from the back of the tent over everyone because he wanted to beat me up, and the security had to. That was my worst moment. And my eldest child at the time, he was sort of 8. He was watching his dad from the
Yeah.
side of the stage. So that scarred him. Yeah, that was awful. Still, 150 quid, back pocket.
Yeah. So back to the film then. So films often, as you're aware, have scenes that are dropped from them. Uh, are there any scenes that were deleted from this that you would have liked to have seen included?
Um, God, I don't think so. Not. I mean, it felt like it did so much, and I can't remember any that. I mean, there's a scene in the car where Natalie's Funzo. I got a character name correct. Yes, Funzo, scary clown. Yeah, she takes off her nose, and we sort of improvised around that, and that was really fun. But they chucked some bits in there. I don't think there are any scenes. I can't remember any. I'm sure there are lots of moments that they couldn't stick in for whatever reason, but yeah, no actual scenes that I remember. Yeah.
So on the YouTube, you must have seen this. There are a whole host of blooper reels which feature you quite prominently from Derek and Afterlife, especially. And I'm wondering, you seem to have this gift of improvising ad libs and cracking up the other members of the cast. Was that the case here? Did you have the manage to do that with the rest of the cast?
I don't know actually. It's weird because I'm so used to sort of working with Ricky and kind of the rules on set with Ricky that he kind of allows me to sort of do what I like. I mean, there's a script there, but really play around with it. So with George, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, George definitely let me play, but I felt like it was tricky to know how far to play and be an idiot, and how much I was just interrupting the day because we were on a tight schedule and
Yeah.
had to get the words done and see. But I definitely could play. I don't know if I made people. I hope so. They probably just tutted behind my back. But yeah, no, we definitely had fun in the scenes. I mean, it's 18 months ago now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's quite a long time ago. But they're such a lovely cast, and we really got on well. And yeah, we definitely had fun, and they definitely made me laugh as well. Yeah.
So what's your abiding memory of the shoot? Bearing in mind, you had COVID at one point.
Um, my, I mean, I have got one thing, but I don't really want to say.
Oh, go
But
on.
honestly, that everyone's just so welcoming and supportive, and because I was really nervous about, and I am when it comes to acting. So yeah, it just totally made me feel at home, and the writers who've been living with the project for like 10 years, I didn't want to screw it up for them. Um, uh, yeah, just really nice family, really supportive, and just what I needed during that time. Yeah, it was great.
So finally, we always ask actors and directors this. Going right back to your very early days, literally childhood days, probably. Can you remember what the first film was that you saw on a big screen in a cinema?
I think it was E.T. That's the one that stands out. It was E.T. I'm not sure what my memory is of how I felt. It's that and the Wrath of Khan, and I
Oh yeah.
hated the Wrath of Khan so much that I've never gone near Star Trek again. So it's E.T. and the Wrath of Khan.
It's
I
sort of,
loved E.T. and I loathed the Wrath of Khan.
so I think those were 82, 81, 82. I think
Oh,
those.
really? So I was okay. So I was 7.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And then actually, and I'll ask this as well. Brian and Charles was such a success and so well liked. Is there any likelihood of a spin-off, a sequel to that, or even like your stand-up career with your Brian Gittins character, whether there's a film there?
Well, potentially, yeah. I don't want to say anything because it's nothing is, but yeah, potentially there is with Brian and Charles. And me and Chris are writing a new film idea, which again, they're all at the start of their journey. So whether they'll get anywhere, but potentially with Brian and Charles, and maybe another thing for me and Chris. Yeah. But I don't think I'd ever do anything live with Brian, but maybe. Actually, I have been doing something live with Brian. I do role play on Grand Theft Auto online with
Oh, right.
Brian walking
Okay.
around Los Angeles. Yeah.
Brian lost in LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, David, thank you ever so much for your time. We really enjoy your work here. So I wish you all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.